How's it going, boys? Johnny Superb Man here, and it's time for another NHL 16 Shootout commentary. And today, let's talk about the new look Ottawa Senators. Now, I know the roster hasn't changed that much from last year. However, the team does have a new head coach, Guy Boucher, a new GM, Pierre Dorian, and they also pulled the trigger on a significant deal, sending Mika Zibanejad and a second to the New York Rangers in exchange for Derek Brassard and a seventh. Now, this trade is very interesting because it shows the NHL exactly what the Ottawa Senators are thinking. They're thinking of winning a Stanley Cup right now. Mika Zibanejad is a 23-year-old centerman with back-to-back 20-goal seasons, while Derek Brassard is a 28-year-old centerman coming off a 27-goal, 58-point season. On paper, it looks like the New York Rangers fleeced the Senators in this trade, especially when you add in the second-round pick. But you guys have to remember, the Senators want to win the Stanley Cup in the next 2 years. They're not looking to be competitive or just make the playoffs. They are seriously trying to win the Stanley Cup in the next 2 years. That means more than just regular season point totals. When you compare the point playoff totals for these two, the trade starts to make a lot more sense for Ottawa. Zibanejad has 2 goals and 8 points in 16 playoff games, while Brassard has 18 goals and 44 points in 59 playoff games. Brassard has almost 4 times more playoff experience than Zibanejad, and he's produced at a better rate. Also throw in hometown advantage for Derek Brassard, who was born in Hull, which is right next door to Ottawa. Maybe a hometown hero in a playoff game. He gives you that much more. Maybe, maybe not. Now, Zibanejad may one day become the better player, but Ottawa doesn't have time to wait. They have to win right now because they still have Erik Karlsson. And that's the whole key here, boys. The reason Ottawa needs to win right now is because of the contract and the roster situation. Erik Karlsson is 26 with only 3 years left on a very team-friendly contract at $6.5 million per year. He will be an unrestricted free agent at the end of the deal. So Ottawa really only has 2 years before a major decision has to be made. Firstly, if he does want to resign, you can expect a $10+ million per year contract. And second, if he doesn't want to resign, then you have to trade him before his last year. You can't let a guy like Erik Karlsson walk for nothing. That's why the time to win is right now for Ottawa. The Erik Karlsson contract countdown is ticking. The team is also not getting any younger. They do have some nice young pieces like Mark Stone, Mike Hoffman, Kyle Turris, and Erik Karlsson. These guys are all between the ages of 24 and 26 years of age. But they also have older vets with fat, lengthy contracts. I mean, Dion Phaneuf, 31, with 5 years left at $7 million per year. Clark MacArthur, 31, with 4 years left at $4.5 million per year. Mark Methot, 31, with 3 years left at $4.9 million per year. Craig Anderson, 35, only 2 years left, but $4.2 million per year. So there's really no time to wait for this roster. And Bobby Ryan, who is, he's just 29, but with 6 years left at $7.25 per year. I mean, Bobby, he's got to get it going. He's got to start to live up to that contract. In 3 years with Ottawa, he's yet to hit the 25-goal mark or the 60-point mark. Compare him to another big-bodied 29-year-old goal scorer, Blake Wheeler. Wheeler was 8th in the NHL this year for points with 26 goals and 52 assists. He makes $5.6 million per year. Compare that to Bobby Ryan's 7.25. Bobby Ryan, you got to wake up and you have to start producing. Because if he only starts to get worse, boys, that's another 6 years left. That's rough, man. Now, I like what Ottawa is doing with this win-now strategy. It makes sense to send the message to Erik Karlsson to get him to stay, to get him to sign another contract. But at the same time, I don't see a contender when I look at the Ottawa Senators. Yes, they can score goals, and yes, they can create offense, especially with the smooth skating Erik Karlsson out there. But can they keep the puck out of the net? The Toronto Maple Leafs were the worst team in the NHL last year, but they had fewer goals against than the Ottawa Senators. The Senators' penalty kill was 29th in the NHL, so I would start there. They need to improve their penalty kill. Hopefully their goals against will come around with that, right? But if the Ottawa Senators want any chance of making a deep run, then they need stellar goaltending from Andy, or the Hamburglar needs to return to his 2014 late season form when they went on that incredible run. they also need Erik Karlsson, Mark Methot, Dion Phagouf, and Cody Ceci to be healthy and on the top of their game all year long. The Sens, they lack depth on that blue line, and an injury to one of these guys, it won't be replaced easily. So they need these 4 guys to really step it up and shut down the play better defensively, make it easier for their goaltenders, and their goaltenders need to stand on their head. So if they can get goaltending and play good defense, then I think a playoff spot is definitely a possibility. But a Stanley Cup contender, I don't know, boys. But I think, if they can make a deep playoff run, be a competitive team that looks to have a bright few years, maybe that's all they need to get Erik Karlsson to re-sign, and that's probably their top priority right now, right? So what do you guys think? A lot of things going on here. What do you think about the trade? Derek Brassard, Zibanejad, what do you guys think about the Ottawa Senators with their mentality of win right now? I did mention those older veterans. There's no way you can trade those guys, so it's not like a retool or a rebuild. You have to make it work. So what do you guys think about that? And also, if you were the GM of the Ottawa Senators, would you make another trade? They didn't really have too much activity at free agency. The Senators notoriously have been a team that doesn't spend up to the cap, right? So what would you do? What do the Ottawa Senators need to do to take that next step to ensure that Karlsson resigns and to just become a competitive team in the East while Karlsson is in his prime? He's 26, man. You gotta start winning right now for the next 6 years. So what does Ottawa need to do, boys? Let me know, and I will see you in the next one. Be sure to check out our website, 2bcsports.com, where the hockey talk continues. Find myself and others in the live interactive chat, or dive into the active forums to talk about sports and gaming. You can also find us on Twitch, where the live streams come to life.